Have you ever noticed how some people walk into a room and immediately sense things that everyone else seems to miss? A small change in someone's tone of voice, a subtle shift in someone's posture, the way a conversation suddenly becomes slightly tense, even though no one openly says anything. While most people move through daily life focusing only on what is obvious, certain individuals seem to be constantly aware of details that exist just beneath the surface. They notice the quiet signals hidden inside ordinary moments, the pause between someone's words, the way someone smiles a little differently than usual, the brief moment when a person looks away before answering a question. And what makes this fascinating is that many of these observations happen almost automatically. These individuals are not actively trying to analyze everything around them. Their mind simply processes the world with a level of sensitivity that captures patterns others rarely see. Part of this ability comes from the way certain brains filter information from the environment. Most people's attention systems are designed to ignore a large percentage of what they perceive. This filtering process helps the brain focus only on what seems immediately relevant. But for some individuals, that filter operates differently. Instead of blocking out small signals, their mind allows more information to enter conscious awareness. Sounds, micro-expressions, subtle emotional changes, inconsistencies in behavior, all of these signals become visible pieces of a larger puzzle. While others focus only on the main conversation happening in front of them, these individuals are also noticing the quiet dynamics happening around it. They observe how people react, how attention shifts in the room, how certain words cause subtle emotional reactions that pass quickly but leave traces. Another important factor is the way experience shapes perception. People who have spent long periods observing rather than dominating conversations often develop a refined awareness of human behavior. When someone listens more than they speak, their mind begins collecting patterns. Over time, these patterns form a kind of internal map of how people express emotions, how discomfort appears in body language, how confidence and uncertainty reveal themselves in small gestures. Because of this accumulated experience, their brain becomes extremely efficient at detecting when something does not match the usual pattern. A single unusual reaction becomes noticeable because it contrasts with everything the mind has previously learned to expect. This heightened perception is also connected to a natural curiosity about meaning. Some people move through interactions focusing mainly on the exchange of words, but others are more interested in what those words represent beneath the surface.
They are drawn to the emotional atmosphere of a situation, the intentions behind what is being said, and the subtle signals that reveal what someone might actually be feeling. As a result, their attention automatically moves toward details that carry hidden information. A brief hesitation before answering, a change in breathing during a conversation, a small inconsistency between someone's words and their facial expression. Each of these details becomes a clue that their mind instinctively tries to interpret. Interestingly, people who notice these subtle details often describe feelings slightly different from those around them, not because they see something extraordinary, but because they constantly perceive layers of interaction that others seem unaware of. In social environments, this can sometimes feel overwhelming. While others experience a conversation as a simple exchange, these individuals may be simultaneously tracking emotional tone, social dynamics, and subtle behavioral cues. Their mind is processing a much richer stream of information, which can make certain environments feel mentally intense. However, this same ability often becomes a powerful advantage in understanding people. Because when someone consistently notices details that others overlook, they begin to develop an unusually precise intuition about human behavior. Over time, they learn to recognize emotional shifts before they are openly expressed. They sense tension before conflict appears. They understand unspoken feelings that never become part of the conversation. What might appear to others as simple intuition is often the result of years of quietly observing patterns that most people never consciously register. And perhaps the most interesting part of this psychological pattern is that these individuals rarely see themselves as possessing a special ability. For them, noticing these details feels completely natural. It is simply how their mind experiences the world.
But when you look more closely at how human perception usually works, something becomes clear. In a world where most people move quickly through interactions, focusing only on the most obvious signals, the minds that pause long enough to observe the quiet details often end up understanding far more than anyone initially realizes.